I'm Chris Williams from Cyclone Fanatic, a proud Iowa State graduate from the class of 2007. No one shows up like Iowa State fans. And Cyclones support Cyclones on and off the field. Your gift can provide scholarships to students, fund groundbreaking research. We can even drum up opportunities for the marching band. Visit MoveWhatMatters.com to learn how you can make an impact today.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the second half of the Cyclone Fanatic Spring Football Preview Podcast. It is a podcast. I'm Connor, and that's Rob. How you doing, man?
Doing okay. Thanks for asking. How are you?
I'm good. The Dallas Stars start playoffs on Saturday, but spring car season starting. A lot of stuff going on. But we're going to talk Iowa State football tonight.
As we should.
And before we do, I want to say that Cyclone Fanatics coverage of Iowa State spring football is once again presented by our friends at A+ Lawn and Landscape. Remember our friends at A+ Lawn and Landscape for your lawn treatments all season long. Let the pros handle your chemicals. Visit apluslawn.com for details on all of the other great things A+ can do for your home, like irrigation, lighting, design, and build projects, and more. Thanks to A+ Lawn and Landscape for sponsoring our coverage of the Cyclones this spring. Appreciate them a lot. If you're looking for that, they do give free quotes and everything that we were talking about on the last episode. But some breaking news, I guess, today. You've seen it, I'm sure, because we're recording this way after. But Isaiah Alston, Iowa State wide receiver, has entered the transfer portal. I'm bad with words tonight. Sorry, guys. And then offensive lineman Brent and Wade Helton also both entered earlier this week. So 3 departures for the team. And Rob, what were your thoughts on those? I think Alston is a bigger one for me.
Yeah, I mean, the Helton twins, you got to assume they got an offer that and again, I should say you got to assume. I assume they got an offer that they liked, to make a move. Obviously, redshirted all last season's staff all spoke very highly of them, and I'm sure wish them well in this era of annual free agency. But Alston, the fact that they targeted him quite a bit in the bowl game, since Jaden Higgins was out, it seemed like he was going to maybe potentially be a bigger piece. Obviously, a huge target, averaged 20 yards a catch at Army, barely saw the field, at least in terms of pass catching for Iowa State last season. So maybe he feels like with Sowell added, Chase Sowell and Xavier Townsend, does this role decline more? Or can he find a better fit? But I think the good news for Iowa State is they're well stocked at both positions. The O-line, though, since it's always a big question mark, to lose 2 guys since you figured would at least be probably solid depth pieces is kind of more concerning. But yeah, kind of surprised by Alston, just given the fact that he stuck through it through last season and got to this point.
Yeah, and I think with the Helton twins, they're a long ways from California. I think that had some of impact to it. But what sticks out to me about Alston is Iowa State was kind of searching for that third wide receiver all season long last year. And it tells me that they've got more in the tank, more from the room, at least at this point in the spring, and moving forward. So at the very least, I expect a lot out of the receivers that we'll see this year. And I think it's a good sign, especially for the fans hoping for that. But you ready to talk some defense and special teams?
Oh, yeah, special teams. Yes. I'm ready for it all, baby.
Heck yeah. We'll start with the defensive line in the Dominique Orange, and that it really stuck out to me what John Haycock said at his press conference, and just how much – it might have been Rashid. I might be putting two quotes into one in my head.
But said kind of similar things with different numbers matched,
and how much pressure that they're putting on Dom to stay on the field more consistently. And I think some of those numbers were like, instead of 3 or 4 plays out of 10, they want to see him on the field for 7, and that will be a difference maker on Iowa State's defense being good. I think Haycock said the defense has to have Dom Orange on the field for 7 to 10 plays to be good.
Yeah, I think it was John was in the 6 something. Was it 60%? I can't remember. And Rashid was in more of the 7 plays. But yeah, I mean, Dom Orange. I mean, the key word for a lot of guys in spring is consistency, and you'll hear it all the time. Before your eyes might roll into the back of your head, but I mean, that's what you've got to get out of guys. And Dom is a perfect example of a guy who's flashed brilliantly and powerful at times in games, and then he disappears a little bit. Whether it be he can't play as many snaps as they need, or whether it's not playing as well as he clearly can. He even said when we talked to him, he said, I'm athletic enough, I'm good enough that I can do that all the time. And it took, I think I'm paraphrasing him, but he said it took me a while to really take that my physical attributes and adopt that mindset that I really can do this all the time. So he is the touchstone, the keystone, the foundational piece for that entire defense, I think, especially with as little starting experience as there is, outside of, your Jontez Williams's, Jeremiah Cooper, obviously the most experience. Will McLaughlin has played a lot of football. I mean, so you got some guys, but he, as I recall, was about to destroy Cam Scadaboo in that otherwise, as Jeremiah Cooper termed it, an embarrassing 45-19 loss in the Big 12 title game to Arizona State. And that was the one where Scadaboo left the pocket and then he came back, or left the tackle box and then he came back. So they said since he left it, all butts were off. And then I saw other rules experts saying like, well, no, you can reestablish yourself in the tackle box, whatever. But that was Dom Orange doing what Dom Orange is capable of. We saw in a lot of games, a huge play against Iowa, bowl game. I mean, we've seen a lot of big things from, quote, Big Citrus, unquote. And both Haycock, Rashid, and of course Dom himself are saying, yeah, that's great, but I need a lot more of it. And that's going to be, as Haycock said, his ability to be consistently good to great is going to have a lot to say about how good this defense is as a whole.
Yeah, and that's obviously a big aspect of things, but I think it's a really good sign to have that you're openly talking about that with media people. Your player knows that he has to get better, and you've put the expectation on him. And obviously he wants to get there and is working towards it. And that's why they're letting him talk about it. You know how they're media trained and everything now these days. You can kind of tell the ones that aren't, which is really adorable, really funny. But as far as the rest of the line goes, going down just the names on it, I keep saying Ike, and then I want to say Ikenna. But yeah, everyone calls him Ike. Isiagu had some really nice plays last year. Samuel Same as well, I think, kind of worked his way on the field later. I know they have good things and have said good things to me about Trey Verdon and Charlie Willowin, a couple of recruits that are coming in. Verdon, obviously, the younger brother of Malik. And who are you most excited to watch this season?
Well, outside of Orange, I mean, I think it's intriguing. I mean, Samir Hawk at times did some things, you know what I mean? The other Jace Gilbert, we've heard good things about him. It's just such an inexperienced group. And I remember when Rashid talked to us, I asked him specifically about the pass rush or lack of it since Will McDonald left. And it really, as Iowa State has been, I think, top of my head, no better than 105th in sacks over the last 3 seasons or something. It was lower than that last season. Now you lose
sounds right for sure,
and you lose a lot of experience. But you also, I mean, you think Dom's played a lot of football. He's only got 12 career starts. So his potential for growth is one of the reasons I think they're putting that pressure on him, and he's readily accepting that pressure because he can do so much more for this defense. And you mentioned all the guys you mentioned, I think they are excited about. And one thing that Rashid said in response to the lack of a pass rush, they almost feel like they can do some, and Ike echoed this, they can almost do some defensive line spying a little bit, to help just be more productive as a unit and free things up. And I think this, again, the oft mentioned silver lining of all the linebacker injuries last season is you developed a lot of guys. So you can be really fresh at that second level, and you can bring Caleb Bacon off the edge, or, Carson Willick. I mean, Will McLaughlin's done that. Kel Brazina, Zach Lovett's been kind of a specialist for that, and also was a spy in the linebacker group. So I think in tandem, as long as the back end holds, and the Cyclone fans have been kind of spoiled. I know it didn't always seem like it last season with some of the injuries that occurred, Malik Verdon and all that, and again the linebackers. The back end has been very good, and if it can continue to do that, I think we'll see more sacks, and I think we'll see it coming in a variety of ways with the linebackers helping out that D line. But I'm excited. Like I said, I'm excited about all those guys, but Dom is the straw that stirs the drink there.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention him too, but UNI transfer Cannon Butler. Just keeping my eye out to see what we get out of him, and it's kind of a wild card spot. It's his last year coming from UNI. Just how effective is he? Just how good can he be? I didn't watch a ton of UNI last year just because of their record, to be honest with you.
They didn't play Drake, so
and they've refused to play Drake. They're scared of Drake. So.
Yeah. I think it's interesting also the addition of Bryce Popp, right? Not as a quote official assistant, but coming over from UNI, obviously an NFL defensive, all pro many of times. A lot of good things said about him too, and how well can he help that transition, right? And just help that line with his knowledge and him getting his hands on those guys. We know what Rashid can do. He's had some elite lines, and adding him into the mix certainly makes it intriguing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was going to bring up too that you have all spring. I don't think we've heard of one injury yet. We might get something from Matt next week on if there's been any. But as far as those waters go, it's not. No one's on campus saying that an offensive lineman got hurt and is out for the year. Yeah, during spring practices, as happened when I was in college. So that's definitely good news. But the linebacker core and the injuries that they have probably 9 players that have, a starter's experience all in that room. And I'm really excited with what we're going to see this year.
Yeah, and of course it starts with Caleb Bacon, right? Breakout 2023, has the unfortunate injury in special teams to begin the season.
4th play of the game?
Gosh, yeah, about.
It was the 4. Okay, it wasn't second quarter.
So in terms of missing players, Bacon missed 13 of the 14 games. Carson Willick missed all 14, of course, because his season-end injury took place in spring ball. John Klosterman missed 10 games. He was coming on as a walk-on, right? Will McLaughlin came back kind of a shell of himself, but still really important to be out there. We know how talented he is. Missed the first 9 games. Kel Brazina missed half the 6 games. And Zach Lovett had to sit out 4 games. We kind of forget that because he's kind of a piece that is used more some games than others. So, that's staggering. So you got the Ryland Barnes of the world. We talked to Bo Goodwin the other day, and he's just an 8-man football graduate that had to get thrown in the fire, and I'm sure he loved it. But I'm sure
did Cooper Ebel get hurt too?
I don't think Cooper missed time, and that
kid's an athlete.
He might have missed time within games, but when you talk about a core of Bacon, Ebel, McLaughlin, Brazina, Willick, you've got a great 2 deep, and you've got a good 3 deep. When we throw in all those other guys, and Goodwin's only going to get better. Ryland Barnes is only going to get better. They were playing with their hair on fire last year, just eager, hard-hitting guys. Now with a bit more reps at this level. I mean, think how much that's going to benefit them, and then the Klosterman as well. I mean, this is a loaded group right now, and if Bacon can stay healthy, I mean, I think they can be a dominant unit.
And Sadowski too.
Oh yeah. So I mean, you've got just loads of experience, a lot of productivity. When you think about how much Bacon added as a pass rusher, and McLaughlin can be really good in coverage. I mean, Brzezina's kind of the whole package. I mean, so many pieces that I think they talked about it. That you talk about situational football. That's situational football on steroids for what they can do with the volume of guys with varied skill sets at that position within a game, within a series, within the whole season. So as shocking and dispiriting as the injuries were that made that group a stumbling block, it certainly at times last season, the fact that they can all come back and, hopefully this time stay healthy, it should be a standout unit for sure.
Absolutely. And then we'll move to defensive backs. And, obviously the first thing you have to mention is how much Iowa State's going to miss Beau Freyler. And I think it's very seldom you see a player that, with the impact of Beau, to where you're saying, everyone knew this before. Thinking in November with 4 games left, everyone knew that Beau Freyler was going to be a massive loss to this group, and as is Malik Verdon. Where do you see them kind of stacking up, and how do you see them replacing those guys?
Well, I mean, Verdon, we were kind of used to him being, unfortunately, it was an annual basis. He was going to miss some time. He's so banged up, so you hope that he can stay healthy and find a pro spot. Beau Freyler, I mean, you talk about a guy. I mean, Campbell rhapsodized about him. I mean, I asked, Dan Broomfield, the safeties coach, about him, and just he's a one-of-a-kind player. And I know he was playing with one arm muscle essay, and of course he gets even more hurt in the bowl game, which is a huge bummer for those guys. But De'Aaron Porter, I mean, that's as important a guy as to go with those two too. So I mean,
I feel dumb I just didn't mention him. So
when we're going position to position, it's so easy to and he's the guy that's going to be, God, the sky's the limit for him with this skill set and football IQ and all that stuff. So yeah, gaping holes in terms of that, I don't know, productivity and experience. I mean, but Cooper can be that guy. I mean, we saw how great he was, first team All Big 12 as a sophomore last season, solid, honorable mention. He can get back to that first team All Big 12 form. You're looking really good there with all the other pieces at safety. And obviously you got another bell cow at corner in Jontez Williams, who, was so good. He's been so good throughout his career, but this season I think can really take another step. Both those guys in terms of leadership, but also coverage, doing great in coverage, tackling ability. I mean, they're hugely important. But obviously we can talk about a lot of other guys too. Drew Surgis was banged up a lot of last season, came back, made a huge. I think he made the interception at the end of the Pop-Tarts Bowl. So a deep group, but a very inexperienced group. And it's going to be interesting to see, because we've heard just tons of names of guys who pop every now and then in that secondary. David Coffey, they brought in transfers like Matthew Bess. We talked to Trey Bell. I mean, I mentioned Surgis, but Joshua Patterson. They talked about Quentin. I mean, basically talked about everyone on the roster at D-back as doing some good things. We haven't even talked about Benny Ngoyi moving over there and maybe trying to pull a Darian Porter type of renaissance thing from receiver. So really, really ton of potential in that room, but very, very unproven room outside of course, and Jameson Patton too. I mean, he's done some good things, but outside of really Williams and Cooper, you're looking at a really green bunch pretty much.
Yeah, and stories like Benny really intrigue me, because it's never a given that you're going to take a player that played this position and move him to this one, he's going to succeed. But when everyone in the room helps the first player make that transition, is still there and teaching the same types of things, I think that's a massive advantage, and definitely a good sign moving forward with him. And we'll see, I guess, this season on the field what he's able to produce. Special teams. Tyler Perkins is back.
Can I throw one more thing on
Yeah.
D-backs?
Yeah.
I didn't want to, neglect Marcus Neal, who we talked to. Really fascinating young man to talk to. I mean, just that guy loves to hit, and he's learning a lot more still at the position. Sophomore, played a lot as a true freshman.
He's got John Cena's shoulders.
Yeah, he does.
That dude has massive. Is it traps? Is that what they're called?
Yeah. So, yeah, trapezius, and the delts up front too. I mean, but at any rate, really excited to see what he can do as well. And Darian Porter's been around the team because he was working out with him some before the combine and even around. I think Trey Bell mentioned that. So, a lot of guys still giving back to this young unit on the most part. They're going to be playing a lot of guys, I'll say, especially early on, I would think.
Absolutely. So Tyler Perkins back to continue his journey for number one punter in America. Do you think we'll see another jump this season from him?
Yeah, I hope so. I think one of the things with Perkins is, that pinpoint precision, right? Because, I mean, there are times, nothing like a couple seasons ago, right, when they would constantly sputter like between the midfield and the 38, and you needed a ton of touchbacks, and he was solid in that area. But, I mean, we know we can boom it. We know he is very talented. But I think the next step is you go beyond pinning him inside the 20, you pin him inside the 10. When you got a really good chance to pin him inside the 10, you pin him inside the 5. Just that added precision in his game, I think will be hugely important. And still got Jace T. Gilbert there for some of those other pooch situations. And I got to assume that he's been, honing his craft pretty well in that area as well.
Why did it take us collectively so long to add the T to Jace T. Gilbert?
Well, I think we had to get the other Jace Gilbert in. But you're right. They just left him as Jace Gilbert.
We've been talking about the other Jace Gilbert.
Jace J. Gilbert, his true freshman season, they just left them both as Jace Gilberts. But now they've got the initials, so we can, not like it's hard to tell them apart when one's a kicker and one's a D lineman, but we got the differentiator there for sure.
Absolutely. And then Kyle Conrarty at kicker obviously had the this game winner in the Cyhawk. Finished 21 for 28 on field goals last year, 46 for 48 on extra points, and broke the school record for kicking points scored and field goals made. And there was times where it seemed rough. I think it was like 2 missed field goals in the same game. But overall, probably one of the more impressive kickers Iowa State season that a kicker's had for Iowa State, especially after Contreras had his year coming off last year. To replace him with a guy that ended up being this solid, I thought was a massive win.
Yeah, nobody knew. I mean, I think the coaches knew. I think they'd seen stuff from him behind the scenes. I remember
the way the plays were called on that end of that last drive in the Cyhawk game. I think the coaches definitely knew what they had.
Yeah, and what a pressure cooker situation, right? I mean, that early in the situation, 54-yarder, right? And he just nails it. I mean, a kid from Dubuque, not a highly touted guy probably, but he was talking to us about how he's good from 65, and then he hedged a little bit, maybe 60. You saw that from him. I think you're right. There were a couple bouts with inconsistency, but I mean, he certainly exceeded what anybody could have expected from him, I think, last season. So I think I think his work ethic's really strong, and I'm sure he's applied that to, take away those couple bouts of inconsistency and be even more rock solid in terms of kicking field goals for Iowa State. And then you got Jace Gilbert, the kickoff situation. There's probably some competition there down the line, but I mean, again, a nice 1-2 punch, kind of like you got at punter. But Conrarty was, I think it might be too much to say he was a revelation, but he was. I mean, again, you lose that Cyhawk game. What does that season look like? there's no historic 7-0 start. There's no, I still think the
you're
season,
not guaranteed to win any of those other games either. I think,
and I mean, you're still they're talented enough. The way they played in the clutch, generally, probably have a fine season, but it's not going to look anything like it did. He's I think he should plan on being an all Big 12 kicker. I think he's got the tools for that, and that's the next step for him.
What do you want to end on anything? Was there anything that I didn't touch?
We haven't talked a whole lot about returners yet, and I don't know that it's that well set. Some of the new guys, so maybe that's something we talk about in another podcast once we have a little bit more clarity there. I assume you consider a Townsend in that mix there. Certainly, you've talked about that, but other than that, I just not sure what that's going to completely look like when you had the embarrassment of riches of Jalen Knoll and on punt return in particular. So I think we're good. I think we're good.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for everyone listening, and thanks to A+ Lawn and Landscape for being the sponsor for this show. This has been Cyclone Fanatic. Thanks, guys.